Hello, everybody. My name is Josiah Boyd, and today I'm here to talk to you about the age of tech, but more specifically, why implementing a nationwide restriction on social media just makes sense. So, today we're going to dive into what social media is, who's using it, what are the negative consequences of it, and what the positive outcomes of having an age restriction on social media would have for the children of this nation. So, with that, let's dive in, shall we? All right, so we're going to start with what social media is and who's using it. So, Oxford Dictionary defines social media as an application that allows users to interact with each other and share content online. So, some common examples of social media would be Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, pretty much any social media site where you can go and interact with your friends and share content about yourself. While many of these apps claim that they have a user age restriction of 13 baked into them, it's almost impossible for them to really do anything about this restriction. And in fact, Baylor Scott White wrote an article saying that the average age a child starts to use social media is 12, with many beginning around 8 years old. So while these different apps may claim that they have an age restriction already in place, it is clear that it's not working and that a new one must be defined. Because of this, we need to implement this restriction because allowing children to interact freely with anyone online leads to many different negative outcomes that could be avoided if national age restrictions on social media were implemented. While it sounds like a great idea to allow your child to interact with any different culture, any different subculture, any different anything around the world, there are obviously going to be some negative side effects that come with that we need to realize and rein in. And I think the best way to rein in these potential dangers is with an age restriction on social media. We need to take action. We need to implement age restrictions on all forms of social media software to help strengthen the younger generation's interpersonal communication skills, physical health, and emotional well-being. So let's dive in. How tech has taken away your child's communication skills. Well, since the introduction of social media, we have seen a decrease in the amount of time that children spend face-to-face. While this doesn't really sound like an all-around negative, and that it is a positive that social media allows children to interact with each other when they are not able to be face-to-face, it's a becoming negative trend that children are starting to step away from these face-to-face interactions in favor of only using social media. And when this happens, it can really stunt a child's social development and communication skills that they're going to need later in life. Prolonged social media use has been shown to negatively impact a child's attention span, language development, and writing ability. And these are all things that they're going to need later in life, not only in school, but in the work environment as well. So let's keep going, shall we? How the restriction would help. By limiting the amount of access children have to social media, we could help encourage face-to-face communication, which would help build better their communication skills. Children need to interact in person with one another to build and hone their communication abilities. Less social media would allow for the creation of more meaningful connections. So when we will take this age restriction into account, we would be cutting down on their amount of ability to make connections, but we would honestly be giving them an avenue to make and create stronger connections. Connections that are made in person tend to last longer than those that are made online. And this is something that we need to implement because children need to learn these social dynamics. They're not getting these certain cues, the nonverbal cues, the reminder that posture, that your face, the expressions you have matter, because over online communication and social media, they don't have to worry about it. These are things that they're going to need later in life, and them not having to think about and focus on these different cues is something that's going to stunt their emotional and social development. Children are missing out on many important communication cues that get lost over the internet, and this is why we need to implement this age restriction. There are many physical risks of social media that I feel often get overlooked or just don't deserve the attention that they need. Social media has many negative health risks associated with its use. Physical health risks associated with social media, according to the Yale Journal of Medicine, include headaches, tremors, nausea, muscle tension, musculoskeletal problems, loss of sleep, and loss of appetite. While many of these may not sound too concerning, when coupled with one another and stacked on top of each other, it can spell out major health risks for a child. Anything that affects a child's loss of sleep or appetite will spell very badly for them in the long run. So let's see. After we've covered the physical strain, let's dive into some of the more mental strain. And these will affect a child's physical health just as much as the physical ailments would. Social media has too many negative health effects on children's mental state for us to not have a national age restriction. The nation has seen an uptick in childhood cases of depression and anxiety since the introduction of social media. The University of Buffalo posted an article on their website describing how children who use social media for more than 3 hours a day are 2 times more likely to be diagnosed with a mental health condition. Social media allowed for the introduction of cyberbullying, which is another aspect that can really negatively affect someone's mental health. Exposure to inappropriate content can also lead to a host of different issues. So not only is it the physical strain that comes with overuse of technology and social media, but the emotional, the mental strain that also comes with being on social media is something that we shouldn't burden our children with at such an early age. By allowing an age restriction, we would be making sure that children don't have to worry about these kind of stressors at such an early age when that's not what they should be focusing on at all. There's no reason a child should have to be dealing with cyberbullying or the possibility that they may develop a very serious mental health condition. While it says that children who use social media for more than 3 hours a day are 2 times more likely to be diagnosed with a mental health condition, while 3 hours does sound like a lot, it's important to take into account that children have access to social media on almost any device, which means that they can have it at almost any time. And 3 hours, while it sounds like a lot, in totality, really isn't that much when you just piece together little bits and pieces of time spent. Let's look at a few other statistics that really drive home why we need this age restriction. Roughly 2/3 of children who use social media say that they are exposed to hate regularly, according to the data prop. Nearly half of children ages 13 to 17 say that social media contributes to a negative self-image of self. 75% of children say that social media sites do a poor job of responding to online bullying. Students are 2 times more likely to attempt suicide if they have been cyberbullied. We have seen an increase of nearly 50% in teen suicides from 2000 to 2017, which was the introduction of social media to this generation. Every single one of these statistics should be enough to implement an age restriction. The fact that roughly 2/3 of children who use social media say that they are exposed to hate regularly is unacceptable. No child should have to be in constant communication and constant contact with something that spells hate. Again, nearly half of children ages 13 to 17 say that social media contributes to a negative self-image. We cannot let this happen. While these children are 13 to 17, we cannot let children younger than this have to deal with these kind of problems. We're already seeing the negative effects that it's having on this generation, and by implementing this ban, we could stop it from spreading to another. What we can do. Right. By implementing a nationwide age restriction on social media, we can help strengthen our children's communication skills, maintain their physical health, and improve their mental health and well-being. We owe it to our children to pass legislation that would save lives and improve the well-being of so many. Social media is an important and fun tool for adults to use when connecting, but keeping children who are negatively affected by it off of its servers will go a long way in improving communication skills and physical and mental health among children. So as I said before, I am not trying to take away social media. I am just saying that implementing an age restriction on who can use this product and these servers would go a long way in helping rebuild the communication skills, the physical health, and the emotional well-being of our nation's children. These are all things that we need to consider when voting and when going to our elected officials about passing legislation. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope that I have convinced you that adding an age restriction on social media is the right way to go. Thank you so much.